The whole it hurts the devs thing is also bullshit. I'm sure they see the problems too, but aren't able to fight back. Because if they do, they'll get sacked. That's what happens in toxic work environments. I feel like, yeah, exactly. And like the thing is, right? Look, hang on a minute. Let me just discuss this real quick, because this is... I need to get this off my chest. It's like the dumbest fucking thing is... This whole concept, right, of, oh, well, I still want to support the devs. Hey, it's not... That's not how it works. They're employed by Ubisoft. Whether the game sells well or bombs is fucking irrelevant. They get paid because they're employed by the company. They get a fucking salary. It doesn't depend on the game. The people that lose out when a game fails is the upper management. And yeah, sometimes people can lose a job. Sometimes they can. But that would be so incredibly telling of Ubisoft as a company if when their game bombs because people boycotted it because they're sexually abusing in other cases their employees, that instead of making changes in their company, they decide to lay people off. That would be so incredibly telling, and it would give them more shit. So yeah, people could, in a very rare circumstance, lose their job because of this. That 100% could happen. And if it does, it's still a win for us, because look how bad that would be for Ubisoft. When they look at a situation and go, right, people are boycotting our game. We've made not as much money in this tax year because people are boycotting our games because we're sexually abusing our employees. Everyone knows that. The industry fucking knows that. And then Ubisoft from that goes, well, what can we do about that? We'll sack people. That wouldn't do them any good. It would do them worse. That would be terrible fucking publicity. That would be so bad, and it would only help our cause more. So it's bullshit to say I'm gonna keep buying Assassin's Creed because I want to support Ubisoft employee _01. No, you're not helping anybody. You're not fucking helping anybody. It's just an excuse because you can't stop buying video games because you're a selfish cunt. That's what it comes down to. You're just fucking selfish. You don't care about the scenario. You don't care about the fucking devs. That's bullshit. You don't give a shit about the devs. You're not doing it because you want to support the devs. You're doing it because you can't stop playing Assassin's Creed. That's what you're doing here, and you don't want to fucking admit it. You want it to be this fucking... You want it to be a virtuous point. You want to keep your morality while buying these games and supporting this toxic company. That's what it comes down to. People are just fucking liars. They're lying to themselves. They're lying to everybody. It's just... Ugh, my god. And it's just such a ridiculous point. Like, it's just such a ridiculous point to make. It just makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. Like, you don't care about the devs. These people don't care about the devs. They're like, oh, well, I couldn't do it because then I think about the devs that aren't getting paid. Like, that. One, that's not how it works, and two, you don't actually care. You don't actually care. It's just so stupid. If you cared, you might care more about the people getting sexually abused. You might care about these people that are being, you know, treated differently because of their race over in Ubisoft Singapore. You might care about all of these various things that are toxic in the workplace. If you fucking cared about the devs as much as you claim to do as your reason for buying Assassin's Creed 54. Like, man, it's just... It's fucking ridiculous. It's just ridiculous to me. It really is. And it's one of the... I just don't want anything to do with Ubisoft anymore, other than trying to fucking fight them. Because just their community of people that are still there defending them. Like, you've got the community of people that are against them, but within that community, you've got a subsect of people that refuse to fight them. Like, they're like, oh, yeah, I hate them too, but also I'm going to buy their games and post about their games, and I'm not going to boycott them, and I'm actually going to demonize you for doing so, but I'm also on your side too, hashtag hold Ubisoft accountable. Like, fuck off. Why is it so difficult to fight a company? Like, why is it so difficult for you? Video games don't matter. Why, like, oh man, I just don't know. I just don't know. It's mad to me. It's just fucking mad to me. It's just been driving me fucking insane. It's so weird. It's so weird. Oh my god. If you saw a shit game, you wouldn't buy it. Surely that would affect the devs as well. Yeah, exactly! Exactly! Like, do you think about that when you don't buy a game that you think looks bad? Yeah, you don't fucking worry about it then, do you? Like, if you see a game that looks bad and everyone on the internet also thinks it looks bad, you don't go, well, I'm going to buy it anyway, because think about the devs. They work so hard on it. No, it's because you don't care about that and you just want to play Assassin's Creed. That's literally what it is. Oh my god. People are so fucking stupid. I just want Ubisoft to fucking end. They're just so shit. I fucking want Eve's head on a fucking spike. Fuck that cunt. My god. What a little fucking bitch. Oh my god. It's actually ridiculous. The more and more that comes out, and the fact they still have anyone supporting them openly, is just ridiculous to me. I'm just not going to stop fucking fighting them. I can take the segment and put it as a clip, and I'm going to make a video on this new article. My god, man. I just don't even know, man. I just don't even know. I'm just looking at this fucking Kotaku article. Ubisoft Singapore has always been kind of known internally to be one of the worst Ubisoft studios in terms of culture. People would visit from other studios and be like, what the fuck is wrong here? Oh my god. Fuck this company. Fuck this company. Oh my god. We're just not going to stop. Keep using the hashtag. Just keep going with it. I think we can do something. I genuinely do think we can do something if we just keep on them. Because they're like, more and more keeps piling up, and they're fucking scared. Like, you see, like, their little reports where they're like, oh, we're concerned that we won't be able to keep employees, and, like, they've put that to, like, an urgent thing. It's... Oh, man. Oh, my god. I asked some guy to stop using the hashtag with AC screenshots, and he just stopped using the hashtag entirely. Like, that's mad to me. That you can know everything that's going on. You can understand how these games are being made. And you can still litter your Twitter with hashtag hold Ubisoft accountable, but also, here's 500 screenshots of Odyssey. It's just, it must just be this mindset of these people living online. Like, they live on Twitter and they just don't understand. They just can't understand. Like, it's like they've detached the two segments. It's like, no, but I also really want to play video games and post those pictures of video games. But also, I guess rape is bad as well, isn't it? So, but I want to do both, and it's like, what? I just don't get it. Like, I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, maybe it's just because I live in the real world where, you know, if someone's treated that badly, that matters much, much more to me, and always will, than any fucking piece of entertainment media. How fucked is it? Doesn't that just show how fucked the world is that we live in? Like, just how backwards it is. That people, that, like, entertainment products have got people, like, just wrapped around their fucking finger, like, that much, that people are not willing to stop playing them and stop buying them and stop giving money to companies that are openly doing these awful things. It's so crazy to me. It's so fucking crazy to me. I just can't understand it. I just can't understand. It's like they don't care, but are too afraid to speak their mind, so they just lie through their teeth. Yeah, it's... You'd rather play a video game than help. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. Just don't buy them. Like, I don't know how you can, in good conscience, buy a Ubisoft game. I just don't. I just don't know how you can do it. I don't know. It, like, now. Specifically now. Forget everything that came before. Forget even the stuff that came out a couple weeks ago. Today, right now, how anyone could ever buy it. Like, I got a tweet the other day, and, like, I appreciate people wanting to help, but, like, you don't care, because they'll say something like, I got a tweet, or it was a comment or something, they were like, thanks so much for bringing attention to the Ubisoft stuff, man. Far Cry 6 will be my last Ubisoft game. Like, wait, you mean the game... You mean the game coming out in months from now. You mean that game that you could cancel your pre-order for and not buy? You mean that game? Wait, what? Why will that be your luck? Don't buy it? You fake fuck? What the fuck are you talking about? It's so ridiculous. It's so fucking ridiculous. Like, if you're a cunt, just be a cunt. Don't try and be a good person. Don't try and pretend you're a good person when you're being a piece of shit. Like, if you don't care, openly don't care. Like, don't try and pretend like you do. If like you'd rather play Far Cry 6 than actually help, then just openly admit that. I would respect that more. I mean, I still wouldn't respect you, but I'd respect that more than, than lying about it. It's just fucking weird to me. It's fucking weird to me, and this company can't go on. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we just keep up. Keep up. Don't play their games. Like, think how much, for me, like, I think people will still say to me, like, oh, you'll definitely buy the next AC. I won't. I definitely won't. And I'm at a point now where I wouldn't anyway. If Ubisoft fixed everything, if Eve went and they fixed everything, I don't think I would buy another one. I really don't. The only reason I would is for making money, but I just don't care anymore. I make enough money. I don't need to play Assassin's Creed anymore. It just doesn't matter. But think how much money I am giving up. Like, it's quite a bit. It is quite a bit that I'm giving up to, to do this. It's a lot of money. That I would get from covering Assassin's Creed and making a big Valhalla video and just streaming the DLC. Like, it is. But I'd rather do that. I'd fucking rather do that. I couldn't in good conscience do it. I just fucking couldn't. It matters too much to me. And I just don't understand how it doesn't matter to other people. And, like, yeah, I already bought the gold edition when the game came out, and I wish I could take it back, or the ultimate edition or whatever it was called. And, like, so yeah, I will have the Siege of Paris, but I'm not going to play it. Like, it's mad to me that people would even... They're like, well, I already bought it, so I'll play it. Like... I guess for some people, money works a bit differently. I guess for me, like, I can afford and don't really care about not covering it and not playing it. I can just do other things. But then for other people, it's like, I guess they spent money on this and they want to get their money's worth, and they feel guilty having paid the money and not getting anything out of it. They're like, wow, I literally just gave money away and I'm getting nothing. So I guess I get that in an instance. But for me, like, I guess with my audience, like, there's no way I could play it and stream it or make video. Like, no. I can't do it. I cannot do it. There's just no chance. Like, I can't sit and fucking play the Siege of Paris and be like, well, I'm not actually doing anything because I'm shitting on the game and I didn't even pay money because I've already got it. Even though either of those things, I won't be helping Ubisoft at all. But I just can't do it anyway. You know what I mean? It makes me too uncomfortable. Yeah, it's like I can't even, like... Fair enough, I'm not going to dictate what other people can and can't do. Like, I do think you're a bit of a piece of shit if you're still covering Valhalla. I do. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I appreciate any help that people are giving. Like, Joel Raptor giving some... Like, on his podcast, he did talk about the allegations and he always will bring it up. But if you're still making news videos and you're hyping it up and you're talking about all this stuff, like, I do think you're a bit of a piece of shit. Like, if you're doing that, it's whatever. I don't have a problem with you personally, but professionally, I think you're a bit of a piece of shit. If you're sitting there and while this is all happening, you're still covering the new armor set, and it's, it's whatever. I can't dictate what you do, but I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong. Because what should come first, ultimately, is people, more so than you making money. And I think it matters more for you to be like, well, I'm not going to cover a Ubisoft game until Ubisoft... Because coming from the four pillars, we already hate Ubisoft. We already think their games suck. So us not covering them doesn't do as much as it could have done. It still does something. Like, don't get me wrong, it still does. But imagine Joel Raptor saying, I'm not covering Ubisoft games until we see change. Imagine how powerful that would be. That could actually do something big. He won't do it because... I mean, that's how he makes his money. And don't get me wrong, like, he's running a business. He has employees to pay. It's a different situation to what we have, where we're just single guys, just working on our own. And we have our personality to fall back on and our community. It's a bit different for Joel because his channel is not based around his personality. It's based around news content and being up to date and being a journalist. And I get that. And he has employees to pay. I get it. But at the same time, I can't respect it. Because you're just then another company doing what you need to do to grow and get by without really helping anybody. And so there's that. And I just think, like, there's no way I could sit down and play the Siege of Paris. I just couldn't. Like, I could not sit and play the Siege of Paris and, like, not feel like fucking shit doing it. It's weird. And, like, you know, when we talk on Four Pillars podcast, like, when I'm on my own, I sort of just, you know, boys don't sugarcoat things, I say it how it is, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, when we're on Four Pillars podcast, I don't think Ethan's a big fan of the, like, some drama that can come from shit, so we don't tend to name names. But for me, I mean, I don't give a shit calling people out, because to me it's like, look, you're not really doing your bit, I don't think. Look at fucking Alana Pierce. She spent her time defending Ubisoft for an unrelated topic with Troy Baker, when, you know, you could have been calling out their toxic workplace environment instead of defending their, I don't know, reuse of assets or whatever the fuck bullshit was. But yeah, it's weird. Like, we spoke to Matty about it, and he said, like, his experience with Ubisoft has always been incredibly positive, and that's because I mean, I've said this before, they're masters of PR. They're masters of marketing. They know exactly how to twist people's opinion of them. Matty, like, said, you know, every single time he's dealt with Ubisoft, it's been so good. They will always send him out so much shit. They will always give him codes to games. They will always invite him to places. They work so closely with creators because they want as many people to have positive Ubisoft experiences as possible. And if people, like, they don't want to waste their time on people like me. They knew I was a lost cause. They knew I knew too much, and, like, I was too, like, I don't know, like, I was so much of a, like, hardcore Ubisoft. I was in that bubble that, I don't know, I guess they can see when someone has integrity. Whereas Matty, he has big integrity, but he wasn't in that Ubisoft bubble. So the Ubisoft bubble that he was in was the positive one that Ubisoft push on people. They knew they could never do that to me. And we spoke to Matty about it. He's like, he's on board with our thing as well. Like, obviously not as into it and everything, but he gets it. And, like, I have a lot of respect for him. But you've got, like, you know, BPR. Yeah, I mean, what can we say about him? Like, you know, it's just, these people, man, I don't know what it is with Ubisoft people. Like, I don't know. You don't have many people like the Pillars. And, like, for all the issues I've had with Memento Gallery, he's 100% in the same court as us at this point. And he got, my God, he got done in by some Sisterhood guys for saying the same thing that we were saying, which is, you know, when we did this the first time around, we gave them room to breathe. We did, and it was our fault. And they got away, and they managed to, you know, keep doing what they were doing, and they got let off the hook for a year, and they might have done for longer if that new report hadn't come out. And he brought that up, and he was like, we can't do that again. We've got to make sure we give them shit. And all of his friends, because you don't have any real friends when you're in that corner of the industry, fucking turned on him, and they just started attacking him. Oh my God, just fucking hilarious how these people just fucking eat each other. It's so weird, and it's just so crazy. And, like, I'm not gonna, like, as you know, as much as it's a meme, I'm not gonna sugarcoat shit. I'm not going to. Like, I'm at the point where there is no compromise for me now. I'm gonna fight Ubisoft until they're fucking gone, and that's it. There's no fucking compromise. There's no supporting the devs. There's no creating a positive environment. No, fuck that and fuck them. That's what we're doing now. They're fucking over, and I'm not gonna take anything else. There is no compromise here. I can't, and I don't want to. It's just so weird. It's just, yeah, it's just such a weird one. Like, I'm not in the camp of trying to be positive, trying to create change positively, because you can't do that with people that don't think rationally and that are huge pieces of shit. Like, it's like, I mean, obviously Ubisoft are not the Nazis, but imagine if our goal with the Nazis was to, like, you know, end their reign of oppression as positively as we possibly can. That just does not work for me. That doesn't seem like it's gonna work. And like you like Tyler, I didn't listen to the podcast because I just couldn't do it. I couldn't put myself through it. But Tyler went on that Sisterhood podcast and he stood up for our point of view and what we were planning on doing and why we thought what we did. And like their goal is to. I just don't see how you can see what's happened and be like, we're just going to be positive. Like, no. How? It's not going to work. It's not going to work because they're going to manipulate and take control of you. You've got to be fucking ready to stand up for yourself. You can't just be like, oh, well, maybe if we be positive and create a nice community, we can fight back and make them see their wrongs. Like, no, they know what they're doing is wrong. They don't care. That's what it comes down to. We've got to remove these people and make actual change. Eve fucking knows it's wrong. It's not like he doesn't know it's wrong. You don't have to teach Eve that what he did was wrong. He fucking knows. He just doesn't care, and he's willing to use you as for fucking marketing. It's honestly embarrassing. It's fucking embarrassing to see what Ubisoft did to a lot of these sub communities for Assassin's Creed and stuff. Because they're just there. They were trying to make a change and they were trying to do good things, but Ubisoft are just fucking conniving. It's not gonna. They're not gonna. You know, they're not just gonna sit back and go, well, you've made a reasonable point there. Maybe we should change. No, it's not gonna happen. The only way it's gonna happen is if they lose money, if they lose support, if they get so much shit that they're forced to. Because if they can choose to not change, they fucking will. Because it's easier. It's the most cost-effective thing. It's why they didn't get rid of people like Ashraf Ismail, like Alex Amancio, like Sergei Haskot, because those people made them fucking money. If you get rid of those people, what you got to do, you got to look for talent that is on the same level, makes the same amount of money, is able to lead a team, and isn't a piece of shit. That costs time and money, and it's too difficult. If you can keep those people and keep it quiet so the public doesn't know, you can make as much money as possible without having to try very hard. And that's what Ubisoft has been run on for so many years, that like that's what they want to keep doing if they can, and we can't let them. And if you try to be positive and you try to make positive change, you're going to let them get away with it, because they're going to trick you and they're going to say, yeah, we'll put your tattoo in our game, and the devs are going to do that, and like the people at the top are going to manipulate that. Because don't get me wrong, the whole tattoo thing, the devs were on board and they were like, yeah, this lets people be seen. But then the PR guys at the top are going to use that to their advantage. And so you can't give them an inch. You can't, because they'll take a fucking mile. And the only way to do it is to keep at them. The only way. And I don't know. This frustrates me all the time. I think about it all the time. Like, it's constantly on my mind. Ubisoft are constantly on my mind, and I'm thinking of ways, like, what can we do? Like, it's constant. I'm always thinking about it. Oh, man. Yeah, it's like the one-handed swords, yeah. They're so clever. They're so clever. They're like, let's save the one-handed swords. Oh, shit, we're under pressure. What happened before? There was that... So, that article came out, right? About the stuff happening, right? About how nothing's changed. What did they do? They dropped the Basim outfit. Something that people wanted since day one. They dropped the Basim outfit. What happened recently when we got all of that other stuff coming out? They dropped one-handed swords. They keep doing it. They keep doing it. Every time something bad happens, they drop something that people really, really want. I wouldn't be surprised if they've got like some big game announcement sitting in the wings for when they need it. I would not be surprised. Yeah, it's rough. It's fucking rough, and I just Sorry, I was replying to Pillar's group chat. They did announce a new game, yeah. It was, and my god. And it's like, they've got Assassin's Creed Infinity, and you just know it's gonna make the biggest numbers in history. You just know. And I hope I can do enough to sway my audience to not get involved. I hope I can. I fucking hope I can. But I just feel that people are too I don't know, man. It's the same way that I was for a long time, but I guess my cutting off point was, oh, Ubisoft rape people. I won't pay for these things anymore. And it also made me realize I shouldn't have been for a long time. I really shouldn't have been. But it's one of those things where I think people are just so involved with this that like it's almost part of their identity. They don't know what to do without it. It's like their fallback is always, oh, it's a new Assassin's Creed, I'll buy it, you know? And Infinity is not just, and this is the only take I'll give on it, is not just made by an awful, awful company that we should not be supporting. It's also everything that I hate about video games rolled into one. Absolutely everything I hate about video games rolled into one. Microtransactions, live service, overpriced, warping of identity, watering down of ideas, absolutely no creative control. All of those things into one, it's just, man, it's just awful, and it's made by Ubisoft. It really is the flagship of rape company, isn't it? Like, embarrassing. And it's, it stresses me out to know that the game will succeed. It just really does. I haven't even bought Valhalla. I was waiting the big releases. Most people need to get burned out before they learn, like with Cyberpunk. Yeah. Well, I wish I hadn't bought Valhalla. I really do. But I have to keep reminding myself. At the time, it was like a focus on, well, you know, I'll get a lot of views, I'll make a lot of money, and Ubisoft will sort their shit. Like, we'll keep on them, but we don't have to boycott. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we thought we'll have to boycott them. And that's just where we were wrong, because it's changed and we do have to, right? Ugh, man. I'm not sure I have too much else to say. We can probably get back to some Final Fantasy in a sec. I do want to keep playing. I didn't mean to turn this into a big discussion. I had to get it on my chest because it's pissing me off. I just want this company to just go down. Fuck. Hey, Benson. Welcome, Ben. If it makes something controversial, then the move will blow up. But Ubisoft are too smart. Yeah, I mean they've done some bad shit. Like that whole Black Lives Matter thing. They fucked up with that Tom Clancy game. They really fucked that up, and that did blow up in their face, but not nearly as big as it probably should have done, among everything else. Most people say they don't support sexual assault, obviously. So I don't understand why this is different. No, neither do I. I don't understand why this is different. I think it's because, well, it's like people will say they don't support sexual assault as long as there's concrete evidence. But that's physically impossible for 99.9% of sexual assault cases. So it's just like what, like people that say they want like they want proof. It's so dumb. You're not gonna get proof. No one fucking records every moment of their life. Like if someone got fucking mugged, would you ask for proof? No. Why is this? Why is it different when it's sexual assault? I just don't get why that's the thing. That's the difference. That's the line that people draw. If someone got their car stolen, would you ask for proof of the stolen car? No, you just believe that they're not lying about getting the fucking car stolen. So when someone's sexually assaulted or sexually abused or sexually harassed, why do you ask for fucking proof? Like, what? Like, there's no proof. Just believe the person. What the fuck are we doing? And people will say, like, oh, well, it's not guilty until proven innocent. It's the other way around. Like, yeah, in a fucking court of law, but not logically, like, in your own fucking brain. Use your common fucking sense. Like, yeah, I guess a judge does have to think that way. A judge does have to think, well, it's innocent until proven guilty. Yeah, because that's how the law system works, but you're not the fucking law system. You're a human being. Like, what the fuck? People are so dumb. Oh my god, I hate those fucking people. They're like, well, the law states actually this. Like, fuck off, you cunt. Just stop using that fucking excuse to be a cunt. Just be a fucking decent person, man. Oh my god. I used to be one of the people that thought most sexual assault cases are made up, and I'm the opposite. Well, I used to be... Oh, my God, man. My fucking right-wing phase. And it's not necessarily a political thing, but you do find it a lot of times with the edgy right-wingers, you know what I mean? When you go down that rabbit hole. I was one of those people. It's just, you're just taught, like, when you're epic-based red-pilled, you're just taught to question everything. You're taught to question absolutely everything. And so you question everything when maybe you shouldn't be. You're taught that everything should come from a logical standpoint. So you think to yourself, right, someone has claimed they've been sexually abused. Therefore, I'm going to need evidence and proof before I can determine what I actually believe, because that's how it should work. I can't just believe someone based on their word, because then I'd be naive. And that's just... You can't live your life like that. You can't live your life like a robot that dictates everything on logic, because we're human beings, and literally everything in our lives is based on emotion. And if you're not basing everything you do on emotion, then... what are you doing? What's the point? It's like people that say that any political agendas or political policies should all be based on logic, when in reality they should all be based on emotion, because what's the one important thing that the government has to take into consideration and should be responsible for? It's the happiness of the people that are, that they're the government for. And so emotion should be the core thing driving politics, not the opposite. That doesn't make any sense. What should be important to everybody is everyone's happiness, well-being. That should be the most important thing, not if it logically makes sense. Like, if you're basing a policy if you're basing a policy on pure logic and that happens to make people miserable, you're doing something wrong. That's my opinion on it in this day and age, which is the complete opposite to what it would have been 3 years ago. But I don't know. I just think that's what matters to me more, is people matter. People matter, and they should matter to each other. And that really should be it. And if you're not basing anything you believe on people and, like, humanity, then what's the point in thinking at all? It's like, I don't know. I think obviously it depends on the situation, doesn't it? Like, depends on who it is. Like, when you look at the situation with someone like... CallMeCarson, and that's what I mean when you're basing it not on logic but on emotion, you're going to come to a better conclusion. Like, when you look at the CallMeCarson stuff, you find a lot of the people that are against Carson are basing their shit on logic again, rather than actual, like, common sense. It's the same thing, because when you base that on logic, technically, under the law, yeah, it's illegal because he was 19 and she was 17, but if you use your common sense and you use your fucking brain and you don't base it on the technicalities of the law, that wasn't an issue. There were issues there, but that wasn't the issue. And if you're basing it all on logic, you're just coming to the wrong conclusion, that Carson's a fucking pedophile, when, hey, he's not, is he? It's just, use your common sense, just use your brain, just use your brain. And there's a lot of things, like, to go into with the Carson drama, and I've talked about it before, like, the whole aspect that, like, I don't believe he did as much wrong as people are led to believe, because... yeah, you could say that he abused his power, and yeah, you could say that she was a victim, the girl was a victim. But, I don't know, because when she came out and talked about it, it was not a victim finally coming out about abuse. It was, honestly, it came across to me like someone who's incredibly vindictive. And you've just got to use your common sense to see that. It was someone that was very confident about what they were saying. They weren't hurt, they didn't feel like they've been manipulated. It was vindictive to get at someone, and the person has said since, there's been like I think there was leaked DMs or something from the person that did it, that they came out about that because they led Carson on to begin with, and then came out about it because they wanted to. And it's not because they're a victim, but people will see them as a victim because that's what Twitter does. Like, if you're a woman and she was a bit younger and that person was in a position of power, they're going to see that person as a victim. And I don't personally, I don't think she was a victim of anything. I think, honestly, a lot of, like, I think Carson made some bad choices, but I think that specific incident, I think he was the victim in a lot of ways, because he was being led on by someone who then went around, flipped it, and was like, I'm the victim, I've been manipulated. You know what I mean? So there's that element to it. The point you made is one I've heard before. Most of these epic right-wing people like Ben Shapiro will use some arguments that follow logic. However, that logic doesn't actually apply to how the real world works. So you put the logic next to common sense, it doesn't line up. Yeah, exactly. It's just, yeah. You can't use this logic and this, like, robotic mindset to judge something as complex and intricate as a sexual assault or sexual abuse case. You just can't. A lot of them are like, there's a grey area too, because a lot of it can be like people were misled. You know, like, you know, a lot of people don't know how to speak out, and they think they're being like, the male is being aggressive. Maybe they would have backed down if the woman had just said no, but she didn't feel like she could say no. And there's things that both of them could have done in that situation that could have de-escalated it and made it 100 times better. But, you know, this Ubisoft thing is not like that. It's not like that. It's just not. And I'm sure there's nuance to it, but I think it's pretty clear which side to jump to. Yeah, it's just, you can't jump to like, this person is the victim and this person's not in a lot of cases. It's not as black and white as that. But with Ubisoft, it is. Yeah, it is. So it's yeah, people are just, I think it's difficult because I can remember being in that mindset. Like, I can remember thinking that way. It's so weird to put into words how it felt, but like, you see a claim online like, this person did this, and your immediate jump is like, because you've been fed all this false information, right, by like these right-wing YouTubers, like your Paul Joseph Watson, your Steven Crowders, your Ben Shapiro's. You've been fed all this information by these people that there are so many instances of false claims. You know, this is such bullshit, this always happens. You know, successful men are always attacked by these women that are trying to tear everyone down. You're fed this information, and you believe it. And so you're in this mindset where you believe you're actually fighting the good fight. You do believe you are. You believe that, well, where's the proof? You're like, come on, let's have some proof. It's innocent till proven guilty. Why are we all cancelling this person? Whereas if you took some time to think it through, you'd realise, one, there's a lot of nuance, and two, most of the time it's not clear the person's innocent just because, like, it's just weird. There's no way you can have concrete evidence. Yeah, I wish I could try and talk everyone out of that mindset, because I remember what it felt like. I really do. I might make a video on it at some point. What it felt like to be in that rabbit hole and to think like that. It's just such a horrible way to think. Just it segregates people. It's incredibly hostile. It's just not good. It's not good. It's just like this warped view of the world. It's so weird. It's just so weird. I'm gonna do the opposite of Meg, yeah. Well, I'm an epic atheist. I'm gonna imagine me as a communist. My God. Yeah, that won't ever happen. I think that's the thing though with me. I'm economically I'd say I'm right, whereas socially I'm left. I think that's really where I am. Yeah, the thing is with Ben Shapiro as well, like, a lot of people will make him out to be like this evil guy that's warping people's minds, but I think he genuinely believes what he says. Like, I don't think and yeah, he is warping people's minds, and it's wrong what he's saying to people, but I don't think what he's doing I don't think he's doing it out of an intention to make people bad people. I think he just believes what he's saying. Like, he thinks he's right. He genuinely does think his line of thought is correct. He does think that. And yeah, he's a piece of shit. But like, yeah, it's just rough. Like, these people are just down this rabbit hole and they can't get out. And, you know, Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, they won't get out of that hole because it's their career. They can't. Although I do think if Ben Shapiro suddenly turned around and was like, fuck me, everything I was saying is a load of shit and I'm actually left wing now, I think he'd probably, I don't know, I think that'd like blow up for like a week. it'd be pretty big. Yeah, Jonathan Dumont is still creative director. I'm just gonna get angry, man, the more I think about this. It's so, yeah. Ubisoft are just fucked, and it just pisses me off. Like, this person who has hurt so many people is still in this position of power. It makes me feel miserable, man. It really does. I just... See, Jonathan Dumont, though, is big. Like, he's a big guy at Ubisoft. I don't understand how he's still there. It's so odd. Jonathan Dumont was the guy that did... He's at Quebec, right? Quebec was one of the most toxic studios, if I recall, as from what Luma's said. Jonathan Dumont. Yeah, it's the Odyssey guy. Oh, look at him. He looks like such a dickhead. Inside the studio. Fuck. Inside the studio. We're gonna see what Jonathan Dumont does. Clip of him throwing a controller at a woman's head. Oh my god. I don't know what Scott Phillips is like, if he's a dodgy bloke. He looks like a dodgy bloke though, doesn't he? Look at that. Oh, you can just imagine him saying like, well, actually, you know, men are actually better at multitasking than women, so I think that, you know, a man are actually better in this role. What a fucking bellend. What a bellend. Oh my god. I think Darby's under contract to not talk about a lot of things. That's why he couldn't come on As Always podcast right away, and I don't know if we'll ever get him on now because we don't want to talk about Ubisoft stuff. I'd love to talk to him just about writing in general, though, and get him on to talk about his new game at his new studio. But I don't think we'll ever talk to him about Assassin's Creed, which is sad because, you know, a lot of those games were important to me and Tyler, but we can't. And yeah, I was talking about earlier, like, people playing, like... like I said, like, people playing Valhalla and still covering it, like, I think you're being a piece of shit. And I don't think you're necessarily a piece of shit if you're playing the old ones, especially if your whole channel is around that and you're passionate about the creation process. And, like, it's, like, I don't think promoting... I mean, I don't want to do it, but I don't think people promoting AC1 and AC2 are necessarily supporting Ubisoft, but I just don't want anything to do with the company. Like, seeing... It makes me feel so sad, because... Seeing Ezio or something makes me feel sick. Like, it really does. Like, I see... Like, only a few months ago was I saying, like, how... Oh, every time I see original Assassin's Creed iconography, it makes me feel so hyped, right? I literally don't feel that anymore. At all. I see a Hidden Blade, and I feel sick. Like, I feel like... Something that I followed for years and years and years, and that was very important to me, got me into video games, like, set me on this career path that I'm on. I can't look at anymore, because of the company. I can't look at Assassin's Creed. It's just... And it's like... I saw, like, Joe has been, like, streaming the old Assassin's Creeds, and, like... I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. Like I said, I can't dictate what people do, but I couldn't do it, and I can't tune into those streams either. I just can't look at those games. It just makes me feel bad. We could talk... If we're ever able to talk to Darby about Ubisoft, then we will. And I think it would be complex for Darby to talk about, because I think he has a lot of friends, and I don't think he wants to shit-talk the company that a lot of his friends are still at. But if he ever wanted to, if his contract ever ran out and he was able to talk about these things openly, then we'd love to talk to him about it. I'm sure he has some things to say. But I'm sure for Darby, it's very complex as a situation. And obviously he left to get himself out of that situation. But, you know... It's just so tough. Like, I can't imagine. It's just, and it's difficult because I'm so in this. Like, I'm so in this community, in this industry. Like, I was following Assassin's Creed for so long. I was an Assassin's Creed channel. And it's weird to think that I ever was just an Assassin's Creed channel, but there was a period of time where that's what I was, and I labeled myself that. It's weird to think, but it was a thing. And that, like... it's weird because I am so in this. Like, it's so close to home for me that it makes it so difficult for me to ever look at Ubisoft's games as anything but made by this abhorrent company. Whereas, you know, for other people that are on the outside that just sit and play games, you know, they see Far Cry 6 and they're just like, oh, it's just another industry. They don't understand that there's no connection to it for them. So it's yeah, it's a weird one because, like, for me, it's just so obvious the decision you would make. Like, no Ubisoft games, I'm not playing them anymore. But for people that aren't as involved, they might see some of the stuff on the surface, but they might be like, well, that'll get resolved. Like, they don't think, oh, I need to actively not play these games. They disconnect the two. They're like, oh, the higher-ups they really suck. I'll keep buying the games, though, because I want to play, like, Far Cry 6. I want to play Assassin's Creed Infinity. I want to, you know, support this dev team. It'll get sorted out. It'll be fixed, you know. See, this is the thing, right? So, like Ben just said, like, so there's apparently a similar thing happening with Quantic Dream, right? Like, what do I do then? Do I not cover those, right? The way I see it is, with Ubisoft, when it first all came out, I never said anything about boycotting, and I didn't boycott myself. I played Valhalla, and I bought Valhalla, and I had no intention of boycotting them. But when the second report came out and said, right, they've not actually changed, and actually these people have been moved around, and there are people still at the company, and now we're hearing loads and loads more, it's clear to me that the only thing that Ubisoft will listen to is us not buying their games. And so to me, that's the approach I'm taking with Ubisoft. So to me, it's like, that's just what I'm going to do. I can't buy those games anymore because I can't sit and do that when it's clear they have no intention of fixing things. Now, with other companies, I'm not as close to those situations. So for me, it's more difficult to get all the facts and to understand the depth to which things are happening. With Ubisoft, to me, it seems very different. It seems like Ubisoft is this culture, this company-wide issue that spans every country they have a studio in, that is enabled by the you know, Yves Guillemot and his brothers. These people at the very top, the people that own the company, that founded the company, founded it with this idea in mind. To me, it's not the same as hearing some reports of bad things happening in a Microsoft studio, or, you know, at Rocksteady or Insomniac, right? Some bad things happening here and there. To me, feels different to Ubisoft's issue, which I feel was founded with that ingrained in it. I think that the Guillemot brothers founded this company with, you know, this sexual culture as a part of the company. I feel like that's just been bred into it and was never able to escape it. And I don't feel that Microsoft has an abusive work culture necessarily. There's obviously issues and things, but for Ubisoft, I feel it's a culture problem, and I feel that's completely different. So, yeah, fuck, man. I think we should stop talking about this now. I think I'm gonna maybe edit down what I just talked about into a thing. I'm just gonna hit like a how do I add a little marker? I don't fucking have one for some reason. There you go. I'm just gonna add a stream marker. There we go. So that people know. We'll get back to Final Fantasy VII. I'm gonna quickly go grab